But you know, the problems that men have cannot be solved, and particularly their alienation from God cannot be solved by anything other than what the gospel tells us. Do a study, a comparative study of soteric schemes in other religions. It's fascinating. The Bible, I mean, I don't want to say that something is true automatically because it's unique, but the truth of the Bible is given some testimony in the utter uniqueness of its plan of salvation. And so when I debated the Jew and the Muslim, I said, both of you say you accept the law of Moses. And so let's go to the law of Moses. We have that much in common. I accept the law of Moses. And we talked about the nature of sin, the nature of the holiness of God, and the need for blood atonement. I said, neither one of you uphold the need for blood atonement today. How can that be? You're not following Moses. And if you're not following Moses, by the way, I don't bring animal sacrifices, but the reason I don't is because the Bible tells me that Christ has presented my blood atonement for me. And since you Jews don't accept that, and you Muslims don't accept the deity of Christ either, and so you can't accept that, then I'd like to know how either one of you think any man can be right with God. I'm only asking you to answer the question from your own scriptures. Where is the blood needed for cleansing? Okay? So neither Judaism or Islam have a way of salvation. Both Judaism and Islam, although they sometimes say it in different ways, but they end up saying the same thing ultimately. They both say that God accepts us by forgiving our past sins based on our present righteousness. And so you do an internal critique of that, and you're saying, okay, now the holiness of God is such that he cannot even look upon sin. Now you've got sins on your record. Now granted, on your record, given your honorific view of yourself, you also have righteousness there. Now, it isn't as righteous as you really think, but for argument's sake, let's say you have a lot of sins back there and you have a lot of righteousness now. What do you do with those past sins? They have not been erased. They have not been washed away. And you say that God is too holy to look upon any sin. So how could God ever accept you? You see, that scheme of salvation, legalism, destroys itself. If obedience to the law is so important, then how will God ever accept those who have broken the law? And so the last point that I made here is simply that it's only in the Christian worldview that any adequate saving scheme, any soteriological scheme can be found.